should be like you, Melvin.
Ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Cherries fans from around the world. Welcome to Cherry AM. Happy Wednesday. Please give a warm welcome to my co-host, as always, this week. It's Malcolm.
Good morning, Ollie. Good morning, everybody in the chat. Hope you're all well.
Hi, morning, Malcolm. Yeah, hope everyone in the chat is fantastic. Today, we've got a much more interesting show for you, in my opinion. We've got some competitor news. We've got transfers in and out from who would be our closest competition moving into the Premier League 25-26 season, and information about all sorts of other different bits and bobs about the league. So looking forward to it. Let's jump straight into the comments. Good morning, Nick. Morning. Back on the school run. Great discussions yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was a good one. Anyone who missed it, please do go back and listen. Matt's already in the chat. Good morning, Matt.
Morning,
He's
Matt.
saying good morning, Nick. Morning, Paul. Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, hi, Paul.
Morning, all. Morning, Ollie and Malcolm. Great shows this week. Thanks, Matt. Really appreciate that, mate.
Thank you.
Chris. Morning,
Blessing.
Ollie and Malcolm. Morning, Chris.
Yeah, morning.
Paul from Oz. Good morning. We do this every morning, Paul. I love it. I love acknowledging that you're the other side of the world and it's 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Darren, good morning, Ollie and Malcolm. Managed to get the beginning today and not the end like yesterday.
Yeah. Hi, Darren.
Hopefully you went back and watched yesterday's show, Darren, because as you've heard, it was a good one. David DaCosta, good evening from Melbourne. So we've got a couple of listeners from Oz this morning. Straight away.
Yeah, good evening, David.
Which is really good. Yeah. And look, so this morning, as I said, it's not just about the Cherries today. So we are going to be discussing Leeds United, Nottingham Forest, Sunderland, Burnley, Newcastle. Who else have I missed there, Malcolm?
Everton,
and a little bit about Arsenal at the end.
Arsenal.
So, yeah, Arsenal. Look, let's get straight into it. All right, Malcolm, do you want to go first with one of your teams? Who do you want to pick?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's start off up in the northeast with Newcastle. Basically, what we're doing, we've had a look at the players they're bringing in or released, whatever. Judge for yourselves how you see them performing the coming season. It's all opinionated. Please feel free to agree, disagree, whatever you like. Okay, so the incomings for Newcastle is Antonio Cordero from Malaga. I haven't got any fees down for these, but yesterday was the interesting one, was Anthony Alanga from Forest. That a fee has been agreed. Okay, it looks very, very likely that he will be travelling up the East Coast. So take what you like out of it. Do you think it's a good move for him? Ollie and I had a short discussion before we came on air. It surprised me, to be honest with you. But who knows? I mean, Newcastle being in the Champions League, they certainly need more depth in their squad, replacements, because the burden of Champions League, as we all know, it puts a lot on the players. So they do need to rotate.
Yeah. And what do you think about Elanga? Does he fit into that?
I think he can do, but I just happen to think, sort of off the top of my head, that maybe there's going to be more rotation at Newcastle. Because they got a decent starting squad anyway, and when they're on form, they're bloody good to watch. Don't know. It has been quite quiet for Newcastle, to be honest with you. If you look through the internet, you can see that a lot of fans a little bit disgruntled that there's not enough movement in the transfer market for them. A little bit concerned. But having said that, it's like a lot of teams. That we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We had it ourselves. People getting a bit excited about players going and nothing coming in. Arsenal was another one, Tottenham as well. So some clubs are, let's just say, I wouldn't say they're slower, but they don't give out the information. And there's others that like to be plastered right across the whole social media and through the press to show the world what they're doing. Yeah,
sure. And I mean, I'm just looking at the Newcastle lineup now. And essentially, it looks like it's two adaptable number 8s, really, doesn't it? And then they've got a deeper number 6 being Sandro Tonali, right? So they can shift that a little bit, really, into any kind of formation they want. They could press on a 4-5-1. They could have a 4-4-2 mid. They could, even as you said, if Elanga comes into the squad, they've got a 4-3-3 in possession, moving on to the wingers, right? So, I can see how that would work, and it would obviously. It would create some better build-up play, right? And it would also create some more attacking chances in the final third. So I can see how that would work.
They're a very pacey side, aren't they?
Yeah, sure.
So, it fits the bill.
Yeah, it does, absolutely. And just before you carry on there, Malcolm, he'll be playing under the second best manager in the division. Have to point that out because, I agree with you, Paul. Really do agree with you there. And I don't think that would be bad for him in any way, shape or form.
No, absolutely. Players gone out. Obviously, Lloyd Kelly to Juventus, and Jamal Lewis and Callum Wilson both been released. So that's the news we got on Newcastle.
Yeah, and Matt there just putting his opinion in. I think letting Callum Wilson go is the right decision. Great player. If I was a championship promotion chasing side, I would take a punt on him. Can still do the job if he remains injury free.
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's some other comments here on Wilson as well. Wilson might go to Burnley.
We're coming on to them.
Yeah. We'll do Burnley in a second. Dan, morning everyone. Very proud of just watching Ringwood first team kit. Go on, Dan. Love that.
Morning,
mate,
Dan.
any footage that you can send in or post on the Facebook page, please do. That'd be awesome, mate. Paul, Wilson might be going to Burnley. Yeah, we'll come to that in a moment, Paul, as just mentioned. Lewis. Morning, Lewis. Thanks for joining the show, mate. Are you concerned for next season?
No.
Not at the moment. I think it'd be silly to be concerned, Lewis. Yes, there's obviously anxieties, there's issues with recruitment, but ultimately, I'm not sure how long you've been watching the show for, mate, but there's a whole plan here. There's a vision being built. We're mid-journey, mid-path. So no, at the moment, I'm not concerned. Maybe give it a season or two if things continue to not go our way, recruitment-wise or development-wise or academy-wise or stadium-wise. Fine, the concern will start to grow a lot more. But at the moment, there is no concern from my point of view, and I think Malcolm echoes that.
Yeah, I think. I don't know if any of you people watched it yesterday. There was a really good video put up on YouTube from the fan advisory board. Did an interview with Jim. It is well worth having a watch. That'll ease your fears. Let's put it that way. Lots of different topics, but very open, transparent. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Obviously, put it up on our Facebook group, so it is on YouTube. Just click on it and have a watch. Really, really interesting.
Is that the one you also shared and posted on the Facebook groups and channels as well? Yeah, cool. And Darren, just backing that up, have every trust in the bigger picture and the long plan. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. It's not to forget that, really. What the plan is. It's not about the next 6 months. It's a 5-year plan, and we're as near as I'm halfway through that 5 years. So keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Ray, so Paul from Oz saw Callum Wilson on TV commenting on Chelsea's game at the end when asked about whether he had ever scored on his debut for teams like Japan Pedro. He said 3 times. Interesting. Yeah, we'll come back to that, Paul. I'm not on Facebook. I'll send it via Facebook, via YouTube. Appreciate that, Dan. Darren read that out a minute ago. Completely agree.
Okay.
Callum on debut for England, Newcastle, and Bournemouth. Yeah, he did. Not seen anything yet. That's fine. Correct, Paul from Oz. Yeah, so that is Callum Wilson scoring on his debut for England, Newcastle, and Bournemouth, is what's being said there. Which is fantastic. Look, we'll move swiftly on. I know that you've got Burnley and Everton to come up to, but I'm just going to cover a competitor that Cherries fans may not have liked from the past. This is Leeds United.
I wonder why.
Exactly. We've had our ups and downs with Leeds. Probably spanning close to 30 years coming on now, if not longer. Longer, yeah. I vividly remember stories of them being in Bournemouth and destroying the town, and being a ton of fans coming over. And when was that? Was that 2003 or 97? It was 2 times.
No, it's before that. I was living in England. I was actually driving down Wallerstone Road, going to a match, and had Radio Solent on in the car radio.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I wanted to turn around and go back home.
No, wow, really? Matt says in the comments, 1990. I was
really sort of worried about it. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, 1990 it would have been.
1990. Yeah. Well, look, swiftly moving past that, because nowadays it hasn't happened in a long time. Football fans being football fans. I'd love to go to a Leeds match. I'd love to go to an away Leeds match. I think the atmosphere would be fantastic at Ellen Road. Can't complain anymore nowadays, right? So look, transfers in. They've been doing some work, and it looks like they've been spending a little bit of money coming back into the Premier League, which is exciting, but also a tad daunting, maybe a tad on the concerning side, because we know that Leeds are a powerhouse when they want to be on their day, right? They've managed to get Xhaka Bijol from Udinese for 13 million. They've got Lucas Mecha from Wolfsburg on a free transfer. They've got Sebastian Bernal from South America, again 10 million, and Gabriel Goodmanson from Lille, left back from Lille. A name might ring a bell. He's been around, Goodmanson. That's a 10 million fee for a 4-year contract. So I think that's a pretty good signing for defence.
Yeah.
They have let some of their players go. They've managed to make a little bit of money with some of their youth and fringe department releases going to lower leagues. So they've got Harry Christie gone. They've got Joshua Gulavugo gone. They've got Junior Firpo gone. Maximilian Wober gone to Werder Bremen. Rasmus Christensen gone to Eintracht Frankfurt. So it looks like they're trying to increase their recruitment, increase their revenue, kind of flip their turnover a little bit over the next coming seasons, which is good to see. It's good to see. Now, the biggest move for them is a Newcastle midfielder, Sean Longstaff.
Oh.
Yeah, which they're closing in on a 12 million deal at the minute, which...
That's not bad money.
It's not bad money. What do you think about that? Because I rate Longstaff as a player. Obviously, in Newcastle's growth over the last couple of seasons, he's been a pinnacle midfielder. He's been in most games. He's made impacts. Is that a loss for Newcastle, or a Newcastle on a different journey, on a different path? Have they gone past Longstaff now?
Yeah, I mean it's good. It's certainly a good move for him. What I like about the figures you've been giving out there, Ollie, is they're not ridiculous sums.
No, they're not.
So if you want to compare, it's no different than what Bournemouth do.
Yeah.
Try and bring players in around the 10 million mark. Sometimes it might be a little bit more, a little bit less, but okay, that's an established player you're talking about there. So I think it's good money. Really do.
I think it's good money. I think that's really good recruitment from a team like Leeds as well. I think it's a fantastic signing. I think that's a centrepiece in midfield, right? I think when you've got a team like Leeds and you go 1-0, 2-0 down in the first half, you need someone who has been in that position before against those teams, has experience controlling the pitch and going, right, boys, you need to get our heads back on. And we need to start focusing and try and push back here. Otherwise, you're looking at a 4-0, 5-0, 6-1 scenario when can't really be happening in the Premier League nowadays, right?
You hit it on the head. Experience. To be honest, you can't pay enough for that. No. So really, really good. Yeah, smart move. Yeah.
And just when I come to, hey, say that again.
Is it over the line yet?
It's not over the line. It's expected to be completed before the weekend's here.
Right.
So we'll keep an eye on that and we'll keep updated. But yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to keep an eye on for the season. Just finishing up on Leeds. I know that Matt here has mentioned about the Leeds manager, Daniel Farke. Can't see Leeds manager seeing the season out in the job. Interesting. Give me some more reason there, Matt. Give me another comment as to why, and I'll come back to it at the end. But I'd love to hear your opinion on that. In my opinion, I think that he's going to have a tough run for sure. He's going to have a tough run. He's not got the easiest side to be playing with. He's not going into the easiest league. He's got it up against him, obviously. And I think any manager in his position is always going to struggle to see out the season in the role, right? Am I accurate in saying that?
Do you think? Because he was at Norwich, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Norwich, yeah, and that must have been a big learning curve for him, I would think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he could well be one of the first to go. We don't want to talk about, managers going.
No.
Losing another. I'd love to see them all stay, but this is football, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is football. You're absolutely right. Green travel clips. Morning, both. Great show as always. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you.
Matt, 12 million for Longstaff is correct valuation. And I think Newcastle have outgrown him. Leeds is a good move. Yeah, backs up everything I was saying there, Matt. Just to close out on Leeds so that we can move on to your next team, Malcolm. I wanted to just mention that strengths against Bournemouth. Obviously, we're going to be comparing how they're going to do against Bournemouth. These teams that have come up, right, specifically. My concern is controlling the tempo. So when Bournemouth come out, Leeds have got a fairly strong midfield compared to what we're used to playing against. They're good at holding tempos. They're good at controlling tempos. They're good at making sure they can have a high defensive line, possession-based play, that kind of style, right? And that's going to allow Bournemouth and Bournemouth's speed, I think, to exploit their backlines, firstly. So I don't think there's necessarily going to be any issues in that sense, but we need to just be careful about Leeds centre-backs. So you've got Rodon and Struich, and they're going to obviously be against our fullbacks and our wingers. It's just critical that we keep a high line against Leeds, because I think it's very easy for us to get caught out. And I think if we get caught out by them, it's going to be tough to come back. Putting it simply. Paul, he'll probably be replaced by someone called Jesse Gregg's favourite player. Matt, my opinion is because he has had relegation strikes me as a bit of a Warnock. Good in the Championship, but struggles in the Premier. If they get off to a bad start, time won't be on his side.
Yeah,
fair enough.
fair
That's
point.
a good opinion. That's a good opinion. Right, enough with Leeds. I'm done talking about Leeds now. Love you, but let's move on. Malcolm, who's next?
Okay, we'll move on to Everton now. So really interesting season for them. New stadium. Okay, we'll start with the excuse me, the players that are out. They're either out or released. So Decore, Ashley Young, Asmir Begovic, might ring a bell to some. I don't know how to pronounce this. Is it Joao Virginia, Neil Malpay, and Mason Holgate? Those are the players.
Neil Malpay.
Yeah, or release. And players coming in, Charlie Alcatraz from Flamengo. And a question mark, this one is was also breaking yesterday, was Tierno Barry from Villarreal.
Nice. Yeah.
So, not sure what transfer fees have been mentioned, but that was released yesterday, so that big interest there. An unknown quantity really with Everton, obviously with Moisey. He steadied the ship last season. Certainly moved them in the right direction. A player that hasn't been mentioned is Seamus Coleman, who signed another year, didn't he? So I think that'll please a lot of Everton fans. Maybe not get all the minutes, but he's not the youngest player in the squad. But it's always good to keep these type of players around the club all the time. Because they're influential not just on the pitch but also in the dressing room. They know the ins and outs. They've been at the club for years, and worth their weight in gold. How do I see them going? I think they'll push mid-table again. I can't really see them getting top 10, but I don't know if anybody else got any views on it. I'm sure there'll be more work to be done. Trying to bring players in.
Yeah, absolutely. There definitely is some views on it for sure. Paul, Everton, I think, will have a good season, top 12.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. I wouldn't. Like I said, it does depend who they bring in. If they do actually bring more in.
Yeah. Matt goes, will Everton suffer new stadium syndrome? Look at how many clubs have been relegated during their first season in the new stadium. Saints, Bournemouth, Oxford. Was Portsmouth in there with Fratton Park at one point?
Anything's possible, Matt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
You can't predict. You really can't. But if you go on, interesting point, Paul. Yeah, he has been actually. He's popped up a couple of times yesterday.
In my opinion, Malcolm, I think that since Sean Dyche was replaced with Moisey, there was obviously a churn, right? There was a big change in Everton. I think they've got this revamped possession game, which has managed to secure them points. Firstly, which was incredibly important at the time. And I think secondly has allowed them to kind of rebuild an attacking structure, which has made them look more promising for this season. Now, if they get a player like Neil Maupay, I think that's is that secured, confirmed?
No, he's out.
He's out. He's gone. Right.
He's gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's not staying anymore. They definitely need to be securing some better players for sure to be able to put the ball away. But yeah, I mean, look, if we're looking at stats here, calmer ball progression, so 468 average passes compared to Dyche's 386. It looks like Moyes has just completely shifted and switched up the entire tactical strategy of how Everton play.
Definitely. He couldn't have done any worse, could he? Come on.
No, exactly. I'm just looking here at the comparison between Everton and Bournemouth.
Right. Also,
Luckily,
sorry,
no,
just
that's
want to
okay.
mention Calvert-Lewin. Obviously, been linked to whoever. You name a club, he's probably been linked to it. So
Yeah,
we don't need him.
No, no, exactly. Look, just coming down to Matt's comment or the channel's comment coming today at 11 a.m. on the channel. Sean's debut as we discuss Dango versus Semenyo and why Semenyo might not be worth the 70 million mentioned. And do watch Craig on Semenyo from yesterday after this show. If you haven't heard Craig singing, at the end of that video, you might hear it. That said, he is no David Bowie. More like Benny Hill. Please do go and watch that. It is a good laugh. As I'm sure you've all seen and heard Craig before, it'll definitely give you a smile in the morning. So, yeah. Do go and watch. Anything else to report on Everton before we move on?
Well, there's nothing else that I saw yesterday to catch my eye. Bearing in mind, it's we're not even halfway through July, so lots can happen, lots can change. Maybe the odd surprise. So watch this space. But I will stick with my prediction that they will do all right. I don't think there'll be in a relegation fight. And as somebody pointed out, so top 12, which is it's about average. It's good.
Yeah. Just wanted to give another shout out to we saw a comment earlier from a Green Travel Clips.
Yeah,
that's actually my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law.
I had no idea. So hi Jared, nice to see you, mate. Also a few other shout outs. There's some Arsenal fans watching. Shout out to Johnny, who should be on his commute on his train today to London. A couple of my brothers who are also Arsenal fans, not Bournemouth fans, crikey. So shout out to all of those guys. Malcolm, moving on. I want to go on to Nottingham Forest.
Go on, go for it.
It's a big one, right? And I think we were talking about this, not specifically Nottingham Forest, but games that we were nervous about entering into last season. And you mentioned that you weren't nervous at all when playing Man City. And I was incredibly nervous when home against Nottingham Forest. Obviously, the score ended up being 5-0, and we absolutely trampled all over them. But that was one of those games that I was terrified for.
Well, they were on a really good run, weren't they, at that time?
They were on a brilliant run. And even the first game of the season, which was against Forest, which we drew 1-1 last season, we don't
lose to Forest, mate.
Don't lose to them, no. Now, slightly more, would you say slightly more concerning this season with our lack of depth at the moment and Forest's continued good run?
I've got no concerns at all. I'm just looking forward to the chaos of Bournemouth, mate. Chaos of Andoni.
Yeah.
I seriously.
I love it.
I've got no fears. It doesn't matter who we're going to be playing. I'm just really, really looking forward to it. We'll surprise some. We're not going to win every game, crikey. It's quite normal, I think, to think that way. But seeing how we've gone over the last 2 years, and the progress that's been made, and the football we play, it is just. It is chaotic, but it's just so beautiful. And why have concerns? Why have concerns? Yeah. Andoni will get the best out of them.
Yeah, agreed. And look, I want to back that a little bit. I mean, yes, there are obviously going to be concerns, right? But at the moment, for me, the biggest concern for a team like Forest. So let's move into someone that we did mention earlier. So Elanga.
Yeah.
With Elanga leaving and going to Newcastle, that's via a £30 million bid. Apparently, I'm not sure if that was mentioned earlier.
It just said fee agreed. That's all I could pick up. There
Yeah,
was
agreed. Yeah, the 30 million quid it sounds like, which again is decent. That's a good fee for Forest to get.
Yeah.
They are now actively pursuing, as we mentioned earlier, Johan Bakayoko, that Bournemouth were looking at, the PSV winger, to replace Elanga, which I think could be a fantastic signing for Forest. I think that would absolutely be exactly what they're looking for, and if not the perfect but better replacement for Elanga, in my opinion. The other players that they've let go, Andrew Obamidele, which is a centre back who's gone to Strasbourg for 7 million. They've also made quite a lot of moves with their under-21, so academy exits. Again, a team like Forest trying to do similar to Bournemouth, right? We're trying to get most out of our academy, most out of loanees, the most out of transfer fees. So they've got 4 players go out on loan from their under-21 academy, and they've had 2 players sell, one of them being Jack Perkins to Northampton and Tyler Binden, Sheffield United. So again, it doesn't seem like they've had a bad recruitment drive, ins and outs. The ins, you got Igor Jesus from Botafogo for 10 million. Luke Campbell, the under-21 academy goalkeeper from Chelsea. And Sheriff Yaya, defensive midfielder from Rio Ave. So, look, interesting signings, and I think we've got to look at those players like, I can't imagine anyone knows them off the top of their head. Similar to Bournemouth signings and Bournemouth recruitment, where you'd like to think you bring in people and you're selling them for a much bigger fee next season. It could be very similar to that. But yeah, that it's pretty quiet from the Nottingham Forest side of things. The one concern that Nuno Santo does have, so there was a press release a couple of weeks ago, Nuno Santo being the Forest manager. It's a narrow 6-man kind of low block midfield, right? So a lot of their bursts are going to be going through Gibbs White and Hudson Odoi over to Wood. Like, what they're trying to create is something that isn't going to work against what Bournemouth are creating. Now, there was talks. I'm going to have to remember the name of the podcast, but there's a lad doing a podcast. I can't remember his name, and he was discussing Forest against Bournemouth and the tactics that they'd bring out, and the vulnerabilities and the strengths against each other, and so on and so forth. And I'll post it on the Facebook channel so people can go and look at it. But it doesn't look like, with the team that we're building, Forest are going to be in competition with us this season. In their opinion, in professionals' opinions, but we'll see. And I'd love to hear other people's opinions on that, because Forest is always a terrifying game for me. It's always an unpredictable one. It's always an uncertainty, and it's one I just don't like looking at. I don't like watching it, Malcolm.
It's okay. It's okay. I also think, having the season they had last season, I don't think they're going to repeat it. Yes, they surprised and shocked many, but hats off to them. They had a great season. I don't think it's going to be repeated this coming one. A lot of clubs be more aware of how they set up against Forest. They were simply a one-off for me, but great. That you couldn't have asked for more. It's the sort of stuff that we very similar to ourselves. Amazing. To think that they only had, basically, you had Wood up front, who, as a one striker. Okay, all the other players around, doing the work, but it clicked, and on so many occasions, you can't argue with it, can you?
No, you can't. You can't at all. And there's some interesting comments that have come in about this, to be fair.
Good.
So teams will start fearing Bournemouth guys this season.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I want to bring this one first from Darren before his other comment. I fear playing the bottom 6, as we always seem to struggle getting a result, rather than fear playing the top 6.
Yeah.
I feel that, Darren. Yep.
I
completely agree. I have less concern playing United's, Arsenal's, Tottenham's, Newcastle's than I do playing Everton's, Forest's. I mean, crikey, we've had some terrible results against Everton in the last 3 seasons. Terrible results.
Did all right last season.
Did all right last season, yeah. But the season before that, I remember we did we not lose both games against Everton the previous season? And I remember being away, and Everton were on probably the worst season they'd had in their history, and we should have gone to them and beat them. And it was a disgustingly rainy day in Everton, and it was terrible. It was the worst game I've ever been to see, and we played terrible. And so I understand the fear there, Darren. What a brilliant result that was, given the run Notts had. I think others now fear playing us rather than how we used to hope for a draw. Now, even when behind, we play to win.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, the tenacity and the strategic, tactical ability that we've got behind the team now, right? It's not just a couple of players or just Eddie that we had before. We've now got Andoni and Andoni's squad of 11. And I think that's what needs to be focused here is, we're playing to win on every aspect, every double ball, every first challenge, every header. It looks like we're really, really up for it now, and you're right. We may not have been like that before. I think what I'm going to do, Malcolm, I know that we've got a couple of teams here. Oh, actually, hang on, before I continue. Matt, good point, Darren. We always seem to play better against the bigger teams than the ones struggling and fighting at the bottom. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, for sure. Malcolm, I know we've only been through 2 teams each. I know that we've got a couple more left to cover. So we might roll this on to tomorrow now, as we are getting close to 40 minutes. We've had a fantastic load of comments and a decent amount of viewers on both streams, which is really awesome, guys. I really appreciate you all making the time out each morning. Please do tune in again tomorrow. We're going to come back and do a second part of this show. We did technically only have another team each to cover, but we'll add another one to that, as it's been such a good show this morning.
Don't let it be Chelsea. We haven't got enough time.
No, I'll be honest. I don't really want to cover Chelsea anyway.
Okay.
But
if anybody's got an idea what they, pick a team out, then we'll go through it.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah, you've got Burnley left, haven't you? I've got Sunderland. We were going to do a segment on Arsenal. We've got enough room for another team or two. So by all means, get involved if you want to hear about someone else in the Premier League and how they square up against us this season. But for now, I wish you all a farewell. I hope you all have a fantastic Wednesday. We're nearly halfway through the whole week by the end of today. And join us again tomorrow for another Cherry AM. Thanks
very much, everybody. Thanks, Ollie. Bye.
Cheers. See you again soon.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
The ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts.
Want authentic supporter insight on all things Bournemouth? Follow Up the Cherries in all departments on the TalkSport Fan Network.
Club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Search TalkSport Fan Network.